Hello there, guys, and welcome to That Anxious Gamer. Today, I'm going to be looking at Baldur's Gate 3 and doing an in-depth and comprehensive racial breakdown as well as tier list for every race in the upcoming August 3rd release of the full game. So, guys, if you haven't decided what race you're going to play, maybe you're still struggling with races and classes, maybe you're struggling in character creation and you keep restarting the game, I'm going to break down all the races, what I feel is going to be the best race for your first playthrough, what's going to be the worst race for your first playthrough, and where I feel these races slot in terms of experience and difficulty and just how good they are overall. Because some races, guys, I hate to break it to you, they're way better than others. So, guys, there's going to be full breakdown in the video description. There's going to be full timestamps. So if you just want to skip to one race, you're not interested in the others, go look down below. You'll be able to find the race you're interested in. I just want to provide value to you guys. I want to give you my perspective on all of this. And yeah, let's get right into it. First race we're going to be looking at is the Dragonborn, guys. The Dragonborn. What do I think about it? Well, the Dragonborn's pretty interesting, guys. So if we look at it in racial features, you get base racial speed. So you're neither really fast or you're really slow. That's pretty normal. And you only really get one racial feature, but the racial feature you get is really cool, guys. So Dragonborns are basically descendants of dragons. So you actually have the most subclasses in the game, guys. So let's look at these subclasses. So basically, if you play a Dragonborn, you get to breathe the element of dragon that you're descended from. So, like if you're a black dragon, or a black dragonborn, you get to spit acid, blue, lightning, glass, fire, bronze, lightning, copper, acid, gold, fire, green, poison, red, fire, silver, cold, and white, cold. Now, what is the differences between these? Because you see there's a lot that are duplicates. Like, for instance, black spits acid, but so does copper. Well, basically, guys, it's a matter of, in a lot of cases, looks. So if you look, black spits acid and has a dexterity save. Copper spits acid and has a dexterity save. So realistically, these are exactly the same. It's just a difference of looks. And I think this is really cool, guys. I think the Dragonborn, just aesthetically, is one of the coolest races in the game. I thought about going in game and cutting back and forth, but obviously there's some races like the Half-orc and the Dragonborn that aren't in there, so that wouldn't be fair to all the races. So I plan to do an updated racial tier list as well after the game comes out, but for now we're going to be doing it this way. So where would I put this race? What do I think about it? Guys, I think this is a solid choice. It's not incredible, but it's very solid. If we go to the tier list that I've made, where does Dragonborn fit on this tier list? So we got the S plus or the OP tier list, we got the S tier, we got the A tier, we got the B, C, and D tier. In my opinion, guys, I think the Dragonborn fits really nicely in the A tier. They're a very good race. They're not OP. They're not, in my opinion, some of the best races in the game. So the S plus tier will be the 1 to 2 races that I feel you should definitely start with if you're playing the game. The S tier will be what I feel very strong. A tier, above average, guys. I think Dragonborn is definitely above average. It's a good race, but I wouldn't say it's great because it only has one big racial ability, even though that racial ability is super cool. So let's move on to the next races, guys. So the next race we're going to be looking at is the Drow Elf. Guys, the Drow Elf is incredible. Look at these racial features. You've got base racial speed, so very similar to the Dragonborn, but you've got Fey ancestry, Raper proficiency, sword proficiency, hand crossbow proficiency, and superior dark vision. Guys, if there's one big thing that I think makes the Drow so good, it's the superior dark vision. This will give you plus 24 meter sight in places that are very dark, like the Underdark. I think this is going to be a huge advantage in the game. I think this is one of the best races for beginners to the game, as well as look in the sub-races with the Loftsworn Drow and the Selduran Drow. You get some really cool abilities, guys. Fairy Fire, that gives you advantage on your rolls once per long rest, and you get to cast Darkness, which basically puts a big orb of darkness on the field and blinds enemies. Guys, the Drow is just really, really, really good. I love this race. I'm going to be playing this race in my first playthrough. There's also lore reasons, like if you're a big fan of the Forgotten Realms or like Legend of Drizzt or things like that. The Drow is just really cool. It's an amazing race in terms of character creation, in terms of how it looks. But I think just from the numerics and just from the racial features, guys, you get so many proficiencies that I think it's very, very hard not to put the Drow in the S plus or OP tier. So I'm going to put there the Drow there. This is one of the biggest races that I would recommend, guys. If you're just starting out to the game, I would recommend going Drow. I think it's fantastic. Let's move on to the next race, guys. So after the Drow, we're going to be looking at the Dwarves, guys. What do I think about the Dwarves? The Dwarves are very solid. If you look at the racial features, we got Dwarven resistance, we got battle axe proficiency, hand axe proficiency, light hammer proficiency, warhammer proficiency, and regular dark vision. Guys, you have your dark vision in there, so you're covered in the on the dark. It's not as good as the Drow, but just like the Drow, you get a lot of proficiencies, guys. If you want to be a martial class, this is just a fantastic option. I think for like barbarians, I think for like warriors, I think there's a lot of classes. The dwarf, not the Drow, the dwarf is going to be really good. Now we know in the game, now in the full game, they've taken out the plus modifiers for each race. So basically, any race can play any class realistically, but you got dwarven toughness as well, and you got base racial speed. So because of that, I think because the dwarf moves just as fast as a regular race, honestly, guys, I think with dwarven toughness, this is going to be just a fantastic race for any tank build. I think the dwarf absolutely deserves to be an S tier. Maybe not in the OP tier. I don't think they're quite as good as the Drow, but I think they're very good. So I'm going to be putting them in the S tier. And yeah, I love the dwarf. I definitely would think right along with the Drow, this is a great race to play for your first playthrough. I would put it a little bit lower. We'll see if anything else can be in the S plus tier like the Drow. But I think the dwarf is way above the Dragonborn and is a solid S tier choice. So let's go on to the next race, guys, which is the elf. So what do you get? You get regular dark vision, keen senses, fey ancestry, long sword proficiency, short sword proficiency, longbow proficiency, and short bow proficiency. Guys, there's a lot to cover here. I think that this race is pretty strong. Now, some of the races like this, like for instance, high elf gets base racial speed, and you get one high elf cantrip, or the wood elf gets fleet of foot and mask of the wild. I think the elf is really strong, guys. They have a lot of similarities to the Drow. If you look, the proficiencies are really high. You don't get as good of dark vision, but you get one high elf cantrip, which is going to be really, really nice. And if you do the wood elf, which I think the wood elf is actually better, let's look at fleet of foot. Yeah, so your base walking speed is 10.5 meters. So you get, I think 9 meters is the default. So you get a little bit more movement, and you get this mask of the wild. So let's take a look at that. You will raise to blend into your natural surrounding. You gain proficiency in stealth. Obviously, if you're doing like a hunter, if you're doing a ranger, if you're doing a rogue, this is going to be a great class, guys. Elf, solid, guys. Solid. If I put Drow in S plus tier, I think it's really impossible for me to not put the elf into at least S tier. I think this is a great starting race, and it brings a lot to the game. And yeah, I think it's just very solid. So we're going to be putting the elf into S tier. Now, I will say, guys, I think that the elf, if you want to pick the elf, I don't know why you wouldn't pick the Drow, because I feel like the Drow is just slightly better. But the elf is kind of, along with the dwarf, of just very solid for your first race. One thing that I did mention, guys, and I should have mentioned, was back when I was talking about dwarves. So this is just like a little addendum to the dwarf, is underneath the dwarf. So we were talking about the glow dwarf, but you also had the shield dwarf and the Dunga. The Dunga, in my opinion, after looking at this, in my opinion, I think the Dunga is the best dwarf. I think this one may possibly get closer to S plus tier. And the reason is this is the Dunga magic and the psionic fortitude. I think the Dunga, if you're choosing a dwarf, is the best dwarf to pick, in my opinion. So let's move on, guys. Sorry for that little typo there. That was my fault. Let's go on to the Githyanki, guys. Githyanki, It's crazy, guys. A lot of people don't like the Githyanki. The Githyanki aren't picked that much. I think it's because of the looks. Guys, I think the Githyanki look fantastic. I think they look absolutely great. And the Githyanki, if you look at them, if you're picking like a warrior, guys, the Githyanki are crazy good. We've got base racial speed, so they move at a regular speed. We got light armor proficiency, medium armor proficiency, short sword proficiency, long sword proficiency, great sword proficiency, Githyanki psionics. I mean, you got Githyanki psionic jump, misty step. Guys, Githyanki is an insane barbarian or warrior pick. They're crazy good. I think they're going to be very, very, very strong. Obviously, with let's say like a barbarian, you wouldn't want to be wearing heavy armor. So light armor and medium armor proficiency would be good. You also have that unarmored ability, so you can actually be really good armor class, even unarmored. So I just think the Githyanki is a great class, guys. I think it's a very simple class. I don't think it's going to be a super pick class, but I think it's strong. And I think the Githyanki deserve to be probably in A tier, but ahead of the Dragonborn. So let's move the Dragonborn down. I think this is either a low S tier or a strong A tier pick. So, guys, we've had a lot of amazing classes so far. We've got the Drow, we've got the Dwarf, we've got the Elf, we've got the Githyanki, and the Dragonborn. So let's take a look at our next class, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it. So the Gnome. What does the Gnome get? Base racial speed, Gnome cunning. Guys, the Deep Gnome, okay, number one, I just want to say something. If you are playing a Gnome, you just need to pick Deep Gnome. I don't know why you would pick Forest Gnome. Speak with animals. There's a lot of things in the game. You have spells. I think there's like potions. You have a lot of options to speak with animals. You can have that on a companion character. I would not choose that at all. The superior dark vision, it's one of the only two races or sub-races along with Drow that get superior dark vision. I think the Gnome is pretty bad, guys. The Gnome doesn't really get much, and it's sad, but it's just true. The Gnome, it's just really underwhelming, guys. I don't see much reason why you would pick this. The only thing with the Deep Gnome you could get is the superior dark vision. But if you look at that, guys, I mean, you get superior dark vision and you get stone camouflage. You have advantage on stealth check. The only reason I think you would pick this is pick Deep Gnome, go low. That's it. That's the only thing I think that would make much sense. The Forest Gnome, I don't know why you would pick it. It makes no sense in my opinion. The Gnome, I hate to say it, guys. I want to love the Gnome, but the Gnome is going to be in B tier, guys. There's just not much for it. I don't know why you wouldn't pick the Drow if you wanted to pick the Gnome. It's just a visual difference. I think the Gnome looks cool. They definitely look interesting. A lot of people have noted that the romance sequences and things of that nature in the game, there's going to be some sequences that feel a little weird with the Gnome. But if you're okay with that, that's totally fine. The problem with the Gnome is I just don't see statistically and with the racial abilities why it would be good. Leave me a comment down below if you feel different, but I just don't feel like the Gnome. I feel like it needs to have more. They needed to put more in the game. Hopefully there'll be a balance patch to kind of balance the Gnome out. But for now, I think it's one of the worst races in the game. There is the Rock Gnome. Also, I didn't want to forget about this. The reason why I talk Deep Gnome is because I think the Deep Gnome is the one you should pick 100% of the time. Rock Gnome, you get regular dark vision. That's just a straight nerf compared to the superior dark vision of the Deep Gnome. And you get Artificer's Lore at twice your proficiency bonus to history checks. How many history checks are we going to be getting, guys? I mean, maybe some, but not enough, guys. Not enough. I just don't think the Gnome has much to offer. So let's move on, guys. What do I think about the Half-Elf? The Half-Elf is good, guys. The Half-Elf is good. Sorry I didn't recognize it there. The Half-Elf. So what do we actually get if we look at racial features? We get Fey ancestry and dark vision. You're starting to see the problem, guys. Why? We're going back to the Gnome here. Why would you pick this why would you not just pick a Drow? That's the long and short. You're just getting less. Look at this. Racial features, Fey ancestry, dark vision. Where for the Drow, you're going to be getting base racial speed, Fey ancestry, rapier proficiency, short sword proficiency, hand crossbow proficiency, and superior dark vision. you start to see the half-elf just doesn't have much going for it. If you pick the Drow half-elf, you're basically getting the same spells that you did for a Drow, but you don't get the superior dark vision. And if you get a high half-elf, you get basically, you can get one high elf cantrip. So this is visual, guys. If you really like the visual of the half-elf and you don't want to be too human, but you don't want to be too elven, you could go for this. Are they good? No, they're not, guys. It's pretty clear they're not. I'm going to put this in C tier. They're not as bad as the Gnome, but they're not good, guys. And I wouldn't recommend, especially for your first playthrough, to play a half-elf. I think this is more for RPers. If you want to roleplay as a half-elf, there's something there. But I just don't feel that the half-elf is going to help you too much. Let's move on to the half-orc. We haven't seen this game. We haven't seen this race, just like the Dragonborn. This is going to be only released in the main game, so nobody's got to play with it, just like the Dragonborn. So I want to say, guys, on the half-orc and also on the Dragonborn, I wanted to make this note, but I forgot when I was talking about the Dragonborn. Both of these races are going to be more of an asterisk because I haven't gotten a chance to play with these races. So we're going to be looking at just how they look on paper. So there's a little bit more of an asterisk on both the Dragonborn and the Half-orc. However, the Half-orc looks pretty good. So it gets dark vision like a lot of the other races, not superior, but at least some. But what do you get? You get Relentless Endurance, Menacing, and Savage attacks. Now, let's take a look at these abilities. Relentless Endurance. When you reduce to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. You can't use this feature again until you have a long rest. Guys, that's fantastic. That's great because instead of being knocked down and having to be assisted by a teammate, you're now just reduced to 1 HP. That, guys, is going to be huge. Like, let's say like on boss attacks or something. Relentless Endurance, I could see being absolutely amazing. Let's look at Menacing now. You gain proficiency in Intimidation. So we already had one skill that helped us directly with combat and was very strong. Now we get Menacing that gives us proficiency in Intimidation. So we're helping dialogue. So we already have a race that has a strong advantage in combat, and we have one that has a decent advantage in dialogue. Very good. Now let's look at Savage attacks. Savage attack. When you score a critical hit with a melee weapon, you can roll one of the weapon's damage dice one additional time and add it to the extra damage of the critical hit. Guys, that's even another big advantage in combat. So Half-orc, when you put in these two really good options in combat, right, really big advantages, and you get a good dialogue option, you got dark vision, guys. You got base racial speed. I think the Half-orc is going to be S tier, guys. And I would even move it. I think probably, to be honest with you guys, the Half-orc is better than the Dwarf and better than the Elf, but not as good as the Drow, in my opinion. I think the Half-orc is top of S tier. Very, very good, and may even, it's really debatable. I think, you know what? I'm actually going to put the Half-orc in S+ tier, OP tier. I'm going to put him directly after Drow. I think the Drow is better, but I think the Half-orc is really strong, guys. If you're starting a character for the first time, I don't think there's any reason why you wouldn't pick the Half-orc. It's really good. So now we only got a few left, guys. Let's go to the Halfling. Halfling, racial feature, lucky. That's it, guys. Wow. That's not much, guys. When you roll a 1 for an attack roll ability check, you can re-roll the dice. That's good, guys. That will definitely save you in certain situations, but this is terrible, guys. Absolutely terrible. The Halfling, just like the Gnome, I don't know why Larian Studios dislikes the shorter races or gives them disadvantage. Guys, it's not good. It's just not good. Lightfoot Halfling, you get naturally stealthy, base racial speed. Strongheart Halfling, you get strong heart's resilience. So we can take a look at these abilities. Naturally stealthy, your nimble nature makes you skilled at concealment. You have proficiency in stealth checks. So, I mean, that's something, guys. If you want to really be like role-playing a rogue, you could take that. Strongheart resilience, we'll take a look at it. You have advantage against poison resistance to poison. Guys, these aren't good. The Halfling's not good. I'm sorry to say it. The Halfling it's better than the Gnome, let's be honest, but it's bottom of C tier. It's bottom of C tier. It's right there along with the half elf. There's not much reason you want to pick this. Let's move on. It hurts me to look at the half elf. I don't really see there being much reason to play it. Human. Guys, I don't know what they were thinking. I am not going to lie to you. I don't know what they were thinking. Base racial features, base racial speed, subraces, none. Guys, what in the little hell was going through their mind? Human has nothing. It's literally, I don't even know what to say. It should be in like F tier. We'll put it bottom of D tier, but you could just say, I don't know why people would play human. Unless you want to go play as yourself in the game or another human being. You want to play as, I don't know, Beyonce, or you want to play as like Jay-Z, or you want to play as Donald. We're going to be playing as Trump in the game. There's no reason you want to play this. Do not play it. Unless you want to play Donald Trump in Baldur's Gate 3, do not play human. Do not play human. I hope I made it clear, but I want to say it. Do not play human. It doesn't make any sense, guys. Don't do it. It's terrible. It's horrible. Let's move on to Tiefling. Tiefling. You get Dark Vision and you get Hellish Resistance. Now let's look at Hellish Resistance here, guys. Hellish Resistance is not bad. I've already taken a look at this. As blood protects you from flame, abyss, or otherwise, you have resistance to fire and only take half damage. Now, guys, what I've found out in early access is fire is actually very common as an elemental damage type. So I think this Hellish Resistance is actually kind of good. Tiefling, I think this is quite good, and you get base Dark Vision. You don't get Superior. If you got Superior with the Tiefling, I would put it way higher, but it's pretty strong. Now, you got 3 different Tiefling. You got this Asmodeus Tiefling. You've got the Mesophilius Tiefling, and you've got the Zerial Tiefling. Now, let's take a look at what they actually do. So, for the Asmodeus Tiefling, you've got Transmutation cantrip. At level 3, you get Hellish Rebuke, and at level 5, you get Darkness. So, you get 1 spell of the Drow. This seems pretty strong. Okay, number 1, you get 3 subclasses. You already got Hellish Resistance. Now you gain Darkness level 5. Hellish Rebuke, we can take a look at. I think it's a pretty moderately decent spell. You can use your reaction to surround your attack on Hellish Flame. So, not bad. You get a little bit of counter damage there. For the Mesophilius Tiefling, or whatever, sorry if I'm mispronouncing these. I probably am, and I apologize about that. Magic Hand. I'm not a big fan of Magic Hand. Burning Hands, that's quite good. And Flame Blade, that's quite good. I think this is quite good, but I'm still liking this Osmodeus Tiefling. I think this is quite good. And the Zerial. So, Zerial, you get Transmutation, Searing Smite, and Branding Smite. This could, honestly, the Zerial Tiefling to me, honestly, looks really strong. Especially, like they're saying, if you use Paladin. I think this Tiefling could be really good. So, because you have so many options and because the base race is so moderately strong, I'm going to put Tiefling again in the S tier. Bottom of S tier, definitely below the Dwarf, definitely below the half elf. Not the half elf, the elf. Sorry, not the half elf. Don't do half elf, guys. That's in C tier. The elf is in S tier. So, guys, let's sum up this tier list, and then I'm going to talk about the classes and the video that's going to be coming up for that. So, for the tier list, in conclusion, in my opinion, the 2 best classes to play in the game are the Half-orc and the Drow. If I had to choose one, I would choose the Drow, but the Half-orc, if you're playing any martial-based class, if you want to play like Barbarian, if you want to play Warrior, if you want to play any martial-based class, I think the Half-orc is going to be incredible. And the Drow is going to be incredible for any like Ranger, Rogue, any stealth-based class, or Wizard-based class. So yeah, magical or stealth-based class, go Drow. If you want to do martial classes, go Half-orc or maybe Dwarf. Tiefling and Elf are both very strong choices. If you like the look of them better, you're not losing out on much power, and I think they're very, very good. Githyanki and Dragonborn, solid, guys. They don't have anything that's like amazing, but I would say Githyanki especially, I think would be a very solid beginner's class. And to be honest with you guys, the Githyanki could be an S tier and the Tiefling could be an A tier. I feel like this is more down to personal preference. You know what, guys? I'm actually going to put the Githyanki up, and I'm going to put the Tiefling down. Just after thinking about it a little bit, I just feel like the Tiefling is a little bit weaker than the Githyanki. Githyanki deserves bottom of S. Tiefling deserves top of A. What races should you not play? Guys, they need to buff them. Halflings, gnomes, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Makes no sense. And whatever you do, don't play human. That's the TLDR, guys. If you really want a TLDR from this entire video and you want it simple, and this is the video description. TLDR, play Drow, play Half-orc, don't play human, don't play gnome. That's pretty simple, guys. Yeah, really hope you like this video. If you have, please comment below. Tell me what race you're going to play, if this was helpful to you, and if you have different thoughts or if you thought I wasn't accurate. Yeah, I want to hear your comments, guys. I want to hear what you guys think. And I'm going to be doing a class-based guide to kind of to go along with this and actually show, okay, well, now what classes would you play since you picked these races? So anyway, guys, really hope you enjoyed this, guys. Toss a like, toss a sub. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again.